After working with William and John on this piece, the most shocking thing for me is that Malcolm was able to survive a system of violence against black men in particular with such elegance and with a fortitude that kept his sanity intact. It amazes me. Well, working on this piece with John and William over the past 9 months and actually having the opportunity to discuss what Malcolm's life was about and stay away from the trauma drama genre altogether has actually inspired me in a new way. And John in particular speaks to this about whose gaze it is. And oftentimes, even as black writers, we are still writing from a viewpoint that is not necessarily circling outside of us, but still another circling at us from all the isms, be it colonialism, be it classism, be it all these systems, racism. And as a black woman, portraying characters who are struck by life circumstances as a child in America, for instance, a black child in America, when do we get to separate from those moments on stage and those moments in our real life? And actually have a group of people who are holding space for this work that recognize that there's no separation in time and space for the actor in this world. So it makes me think about the perspective. Who is telling the story and who are we telling it for? What are we generating the energy for? Is it just to collect more trauma for entertainment? Or is it to really dig deep and heal? Which I think this is a word we've talked about, but I think this piece gets to a healing of sorts. Oh my gosh. All in. Just letting us see a man who grew up an American child. This is an American soul. And there's something really particular about growing up in America, and in particular being a black American, because you're always seen. You don't get to disappear. Even if you're passing, you are seen because you see yourself, right? So there's something to never being able to escape the gaze of those who have disdain for you or who love you. There's no escape from being watched, and the perception often makes you start practicing in ways that may be against your autonomy, against your real desires, and having an actor just have to. William is he mentioned the word daunting. William is definitely going to be holding a huge he's in the room, I don't want to say it, but it's a huge weight that he will have to take on because he's playing Malcolm. But it's not because of Malcolm's traumas. It's because of Malcolm's dreams and how Malcolm wanted to impart this to black men, and then later on, black men, black women, and later on, people. He wanted everyone to understand that this system that we're living under is one that is going to continue to kill black men and women. I do. I do think that Malcolm X's life is largely representative of the American life. There's definitely, in the diaspora, black folk experience life in a different way around the world. America has a distinct difference in that we often like to bury our truths. And Malcolm was not one to bury a truth. And he'll put it on the table and ask you to eat and dine with him and deal with it. And that I love that he's not swallowing the lie, but devouring truth and then spinning it back out.
We were talking one day, and you said very directly and seriously to someone, I want you to understand that this is a play and a production about violence.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
This play is about the violence against Black thought, Black lives, and I can't just make it that general. Malcolm's life on this walk was to fight against the violence against Black thought, Black lives, Black joy, all of the things that encompasses being a Black person in America. Malcolm, sometimes when he's speaking with levity, will talk about the absurdity that goes along with walking as a Black or brown person in this country in particular, and then how different it was when he went overseas to Africa to see a collection of people from all over the world experiencing something very new. But violence in America in particular is, I often say that it's like just below the surface, and we'd like to keep it there as Americans, whereas Malcolm wanted it to be rooted out, you know. And okay, so I have to speak to Malcolm, not just the man or the myth, but Malcolm the father. We at one time were told we were more animal-like than we were human. And this man, I looked up, for instance, the meaning of each child's name and the greatness that this man and grace that this man and Betty held in their own lives for one another, and then for their offspring, and the knowledge and beauty that they gave these kids. You can't help but be brilliant to sustain in a world that hates you, that well, in that time especially, in a world that vividly hates you, haunts you, and hunts you simply because you are a Black man speaking wisely, using rhetoric that can exist in any room and be clearly understood, and with such power to walk outside of a police station and to wave and a crowd disappears. That power is not just held in his presence, but also in his rhetoric. It's because of the philosophy, the brilliance that he held. This piece is about whether we're going to choose now or later to listen to a philosophy such as a Malcolm X, Malcolm L, the whole name, to listen to the speeches as if they were coming over the radio or television right now today, and what it is that we would practice at the moment so that we no longer have to walk in this turmoil, pain, or lie as human beings.